Hey guys, David here and welcome to the FitPro Daily. This week is all about transitioning within the fitness industry. A lot of us come in at one stage and by the time we've spent 5 or 6 years we've transitioned into some sort of different element within the fitness industry, and that's what we're going to focus heavily on this week. And there was no better place to start than inviting Cashmore on, share her experience and how she went from a coach within a leisure centre to now running modules and trainings for FitPros all around the world on how to develop as a stretch coach. So enough for me talking, let's dive straight into this week's guest interview. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to a brand new live interview. Today, we've got Key all the way from Pure Stretch, and I've just found out she's actually in France right now. So, welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm delighted to be here, actually. It's lovely. Thank you.
Nice. So the weather outside, well, as the song goes, the weather outside is frightful. It really is. It's cloudy. It's miserable. But it looks from the window
Here in
that
France, it's delightful.
So yeah, that's Wales for you. Cool. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about how you transition from being the fitness coach, that side of things, to moving into more of the stretch stuff, but also looking at the business side of things, like how you've managed to grow so quick in the online and how you're moving into different countries and how you've also been helping other FitPros kind of develop with some of the stuff that they're going through. But the first question I always start with is, how did you get started in the fitness industry?
That's a good point. To be honest, I was a single mum at the time, and I used to walk past this gym and look at this class and just saw all these sweaty bodies, and I thought, I want to do that. I want to give that a go, and I did. And that was it. I was addicted from then. And then about a year later, I thought, I think I can actually do this and make money from it myself. And that was kind of the journey. And 55 years of age and still doing it. So, yeah.
So, how long have you been in the fitness industry then?
So I must be in it about, oh God, do I really have to say? Yeah, it must be at least 32, 33 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, you've probably seen some change within the industry. What would you say has been one of the biggest changes that you might have seen then?
I just got it. We're not wearing leg warmers anymore, to be honest. But I think now it's really, in one way, it's a bit sad because I think a lot of the sort of freestyle seems to have gone, which, but it's now coming back, I've noticed. So that's really good. I think there was a time where everything was choreographed. You know, we had to work with choreography the whole time. There was very little of our own kind of input. There was a stage of that going on, but definitely a bit of sort of our own kind of input is coming back for sure, which is great to see.
Nice. Yeah. Is that because you reckon the big businesses are kind of controlling what you can do, so everything is easy? Okay, cool. That makes sense. So what else do you reckon is going to come back then that you might have seen previously, and you think, you know what, things are actually starting to move this way again in the fitness industry?
Well, actually, it's an awful thing to say because I know COVID has just been horrific for people. And I know a lot of instructors have struggled with getting online. I think it's because it's so out of some people's comfort zone to be online and not have that lovely face-to-face and contact and feeling the atmosphere. But I do think fitness instructors have suddenly become more independent and not relying on work through bigger gyms as much, and that's not a bad thing. Sometimes we are underpriced and undervalued, and it's kind of really nice to see instructors out there just doing their own thing, being a lot more independent. I've quite enjoyed watching that over the last 2 years.
Nice. Okay, so let's kind of get back to you then. So you were a fitness coach, and
Yes.
now you kind of transitioned into Pure Stretch.
Yeah.
A lot of us kind of in this industry, we either come from a desk job to becoming a FitPro to then maybe moving out of the FitPro industry. What was it that made you kind of stay but kind of switch your plan of attack within the fitness industry rather than moving back out of it?
So what kind of made me go on to Pure Stretch? Is it from? Well, do you know, I was a body balance instructor, which actually I absolutely loved. The music, the choreography, everything was just fantastic. But I just felt I didn't myself know enough to teach it. There's a lot of sort of yoga in there, a lot of Pilates in there. So I qualified in both because I just wanted to know what I was doing. And then when I was training for both, it took about 2 to 3 years, to be honest. I just began to get really quite more drawn to stretching and just seeing how beneficial it was, and like not understanding why there were loads of people not going to yoga classes who really needed to stretch. And sort of that was my journey. I was thinking, right, there's definitely a demand for stretch. So
okay. So before we kind of go into transitioning online and moving everything, let's talk about that marketing point of view from it there. So you own a studio, you own a gym, and you want to help people look and feel better about themselves. And like you were saying, these people need to be doing some sort of stretching and yoga and all this type of stuff. What did you change in your marketing and your messaging to convince these people to actually come in and have a go, to actually step out of their comfort zone and do it?
Well, I was really, really lucky because I was working for a really good gym, and it had lots of sort of gyms throughout the UK as well, not just where I was based. And my coordinator was great. And when I had qualified in yoga, I really wanted so many of the guys to come to the yoga class, but they wouldn't come. So these are the guys who were doing body combat, body pump, weights, all these high hit classes who really did need to do yoga. And I just couldn't convince them to come to my yoga classes. And it made me laugh because I was thinking, I'm not going to suddenly change personality. I'm not going to be wearing the mala beads. I'm not going to be having the blanket over me. It's me teaching yoga, come. And they were like, no, why? And a lot of the views were really interesting. It was like, it's too holistic. It's, I just don't want to go down that route. So I asked my coordinator, the guy's name was Kif, he was just fantastic. Can I just change the view, their view on it, and basically just say, right, guys, I think you really need to stretch, and I think you really need to work on your core as well. I took out the whole holistic approach, and honest to God, within 3 weeks, it was rocking. The class was full. They asked me to do another class. Then it started to get around the UK, that particular organization. So they asked me to train their instructors. And then within 2 years, I became a training provider. So I obviously, hit the right nail on the head, I think.
Yeah. So you spoken to the guys who didn't want to go down the holistic approach,
Yes.
and they kind of expressed why they didn't want to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I genuinely was like, come and have a go, and even with the Pilates, the funny thing was they were going, Pilates, it's so easy. And that just cracked me up because I'm like, yeah, you clearly haven't been to a Pilates class. It's not easy. But it was just, they hadn't tried it, just to get them in the door and give it a go. I knew once I'd get them in there, they're hooked, they'll stay. But just getting them in there. So it was, honest to God, I was literally going around the gym, going up to them as they're on the running machine, having a chat with them, and saying to them, why is it you're not coming into these classes? So then Kif let me kind of what would you say? Just a new identity, really, just kind of come up with a different thing that would appeal to them. And it was basically flexibility with a sense of humor, and it worked. Yeah.
So it shows then the importance of actually surveying not just your clients, but your followers to kind of see what goes on in their mind. Yeah.
Absolutely. 100%. 100%.
Okay. So you're getting a load of people in now, but how did it suddenly escalate from you having nobody to suddenly then you becoming a training provider? What was it throughout the whole UK?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. And it really happened quickly as well. And I'll never forget when I started to have the demand from this particular leisure center, then they approached me. They actually got the big boss to come down. And I was like, oh my God, he wanted to have a chat with me. And he said, would you just do Pure Stretch for us, just for our gym? And then I was like, oh, this is interesting. They want me all to themselves. And I thought, okay, no, thanks very much, but I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to try and do it myself. And I was just so lucky, to be honest. Each month I was getting more and more people booked on the courses, more and more instructors trained up. Yeah, and there was no looking back.
Nice, yeah. So just the three things I've written down there is like the passion, the listening, and the desire. If you've got that, no matter what it is you're doing in life, those three things alone is going to help propel you and move you forwards.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So now, where you are right now, you're just a coach running your online business for your pure stretch, or are you still mentoring other fit pros with the qualification and stuff?
So what happens is you come on a course, you get it accredited. You already have a teaching qualification. You get accredited with Pure Stretch, and then if you want to, you sign up for a monthly membership, and you just get constant choreography, constant support. You go into a private group as well, and yeah, it's just. There's a lot of us out there. It's a really good fun. We all throw ideas at each other. It's a great community, to be honest. It's really good. And it's great because it's, for me, I get to do everything. I get to talk to people on Zoom. I get to create choreography. And then I'm now going back to doing face-to-face workshops as well, because I think people do really like that bit of hands-on and face-to-face as well in the workshop.
Okay, so let's transition to that kind of point there, because I've put missed the face-to-face element for those, let's say, who transition online because of COVID and lockdown and all that terrible stuff. How important is the face-to-face contact, or can a fit pro really survive and thrive by just being 100% online without having any real direct contact with anybody?
Well, to be honest, COVID's just proven to us that we can, but I do know that we all miss it. I do know that we all miss, like I was saying earlier, just picking up on the vibes and the woo woo. There's nothing quite like that woo woo and everyone woo. It's just not the same on Zoom. You don't get it. And I do think, unfortunately, there's a few of us have dropped out because we miss that so much. We just miss that. Because let's be honest, as instructors, we get as much of a kick from teaching as the guys being taught. We've got the adrenaline really in there as well at the end of the class. We're buzzing as well. But it can be done. The online can be done. And it's great if you're doing a course online. It's fantastic because it's around your lifestyle. You can pick it up, put it down, pick it up, put it down. You kind of do it when you want to do it. Me personally, I'm very much a face-to-face person. I've managed with the online, but I do love face-to-face.
So the transition online then, how difficult was it for you if you've never really done that type of thing before? You've always been in the gym, coaching clients, in the studio, coaching clients, doing boot camps or whatever. How difficult was it to transition and move everything online?
For me, to put everything online was easy. I had most of the videos up anyway. Half of the course was online and the other half was face-to-face. So it was like you could do 16 hours online or 10 hours online and then come in and do 8 hours face-to-face. So it was actually those extra 8 hours that I then had to put online, and it's fine. I'm not under any pressure because I can edit the videos, put them in, I can tweak things, everything like that. What I struggle more with is this kind of thing live. You kind of go, whoops, you can't take back what you said.
Edit
But
that
actually,
out.
yeah, exactly. But sort of creating content online for people to read, it's a lot easier because you can tweak it until you're really happy with it.
Okay, so move on then to the work-life balance side of things then, because you just mentioned that when you, before lockdown, you had a certain element online, a certain element offline. And did you have to go somewhere to do that offline side of things?
Yeah. So I actually, because business was getting busier and busier and more demand, I was using venues here, there, and everywhere, which actually was really good because I could get out through sort of go throughout the whole of the UK, and that was fun, hard work, but it was fun. And then I got a bit cocky and thought, you know what, I need to open up my own studio. I want to have my own base, kind of to put everything in a place. And unfortunately, the studio I went for, it was just too big. I got too big for my boots, to be honest. It was something that I felt would really be a benefit to Pure Stretch, but me trying to keep the doors open to this studio became quite a commitment. Took a lot of my time, and then I sort of had to take the foot off the pure stretch accelerator, which was why I did the studio in the first place. So hindsight's a great thing. I don't think I'd do that again, or if I did, I'd do a much smaller studio.
Yeah. So with the work-life balance side of things, then offline you had times and places you had to be, like you say, you're going to these different venues or you're opening your gym, whereas online you can almost do it from the comfort of your bed, and there's no
God,
times and
yeah.
deadlines and stuff.
It's fantastic. It is fantastic. From a business point of view, online's a great. I mean, we could be chatting now and I check my phone and go, oh, great, someone's booked on. It's really, really good from a business point of view, being online like that. It's passive income to a degree. There's no expenses. I don't need a venue. I don't need a tutor. And it's a no-brainer, really.
So how were you able to manage a work-life balance without going for a 5-hour walk and be like, oh, I'll just do that when I get back later, or like you're in France now, I'll just go on another holiday and I'll catch up? How were you able to manage your time and manage to make sure you do it properly? Because when you're offline, you have to be at a certain place at a certain time. Whereas when you're online, you kind of have to manage it.
Yeah, that's a really, really good question. Like, for example, now hubby's gone out, he's gone touring for the day. I really didn't want to do it. It's too hard for me, forget it. But so I'm like, awesome, I'm just going to spend the whole of the day working. I'm going to create a bit of choreography, answer my emails, pop in a couple of Zooms. Guys, I've got 4 hours, 3 hours, book a Zoom call with me if you need anything. And that kind of happens a lot during the weeks. So there'll be like, 2 or 3 days that I do really dedicate it towards pure stretch. But it's great to have that flexibility, to just, this is the great thing, like I'm saying, Zoom, we didn't do Zoom, did we, about 3 years ago? Now anybody wants to ask a question. I was literally on Zoom for 2 hours with an instructor about 20 minutes ago. It's fab. And you feel like you get to know them. Because like they're sitting there, you see their their household in the back, you hear their kids, the dog, they're having a cup of tea. It's really nice, actually, that side of it.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so moving forwards then, are you going to keep staying online, living in France, or is it going to be keep traveling while working? How does that kind of work?
I'm definitely going to keep the online. The reason being the feedback's been really, really positive. People have said that the online content's really easy to understand. It's really, really good. And then what we do is we do a recap workshop. So for those people who think, I've loved the online, but I still really do want a bit of face-to-face, hands-on, they have an option to come to a workshop. And so there's going to be like 4 or 5 hour workshops. Again, same sort of thing, all throughout the UK. Keeps me busy, keeps me entertained, and I get to meet the guys face to face as well, which is great.
Nice. Okay, and let's go back to the studio then. So you mentioned that the studio was a little bit too big. Mm-hmm. If you were going to open a studio again, because a lot of people watching or listening to this want to be studio owners or people who have studios, what maybe would you do different this time to open a studio?
Oh, that's really interesting. I would. Looking back, I was so inexperienced, and really make sure that you can cover the costs. Really make sure that you are going to make money as well, and get a good team on board. I was blessed. I had some fantastic guys on board. One in particular who was like my other half. She was amazing. She worked so hard with me. And also look out for competition. When I opened up my studio, I was going around, I was introducing myself to all the gyms, being really honest. I'm opening up literally around the corner from you. What is it you guys do? I think get familiar with your competition as well, and get to know them. But it's the cost. Don't get too big for your boots. And that's unfortunately what I did. The first 2 years were fantastic. And then a place opened up around the corner for me that had a lot more money, could do what I did, plus more for a lot cheaper. So I was gone within a month. Everyone left me. It was like, it was very hurtful.
You mentioned covering your costs a few times now, which will be bringing different sorts of income in. But what costs didn't you consider? What costs didn't you like? Oh, I hadn't thought of that. That's Bill. I didn't even consider that, Bill.
You know, I genuinely thought I had thought of everything. And I had treatment rooms. So if things went bad on one side, it would be okay because the treatment rooms would be okay. Or if it went bad, it'd be okay because the studio would be okay. In hindsight, you can't guarantee this, because you could have someone in a treatment room who's going to say, sorry, 1 month's notice, I'm going to leave, and you can't get them in. It's just keep it small. Don't get too big for your boots. Definitely get other people on the team as well if you can afford it, because you're going to be exhausted. Because if you're running a studio, you make sure that you've got other people with you that you can afford and that you get on really well with. And yeah, just don't be next door to a big, massive gym. That's not going to help.
No, that's true. Okay, so to kind of wrap up slowly now then, what kind of final thoughts and tips and advice would you give maybe a new FitPro coming into the industry to start off with them?
Do you know what? It's a fantastic industry to come into, and good on you for getting in there. And when I run courses, I kid you not, I've got people who've been doing fitness for 40 years. So this just shows you how much we love what we do. So you've made the right decision. You've come in, well done. Make sure you love what you're teaching. It's so apparent. If you're up there teaching and you love what you're teaching, the participants know it, they feel it, and they will come back again and again. If you're dragging your heels going into a class, get rid of it. You can replace it. Yeah. If you haven't got that motivation at the start of the class, forget it, get rid of it. Something else will turn up that you love. So just love what you teach and enjoy it. It's fab. And you stay fit yourself. It's a winner.
So let's go to the flip side then. Somebody who has been in the fitness industry for, let's say, 32 years like yourself, what kind of advice would you give them to keep moving forwards?
If they want to stay in the fitness industry, gosh, that's hard, because now what I find is a lot of guys are joining me, Pure Stretch, because that we're sort of being a bit not selfish, but we're getting a bit knackered, so now they're choosing to do Pure Stretch because they want to do something that's going to benefit themselves. So if you're going down the route and you're getting a bit older and, you're thinking, I really still want to teach, take out that high impact, guys. Look after yourselves. You're going to be exhausted. And you know what? Yoga, Pilates, Pure Stretch, of course, these are all fantastic things to do. They really are. Don't shy away from things. Give something a go that's going to be beneficial for you mentally and physically.
And just one final thing. Could you explain what Pure Stretch is in 30 seconds so everyone can understand it a bit better?
Pure Stretch is flexibility with a sense of humor. Basically, we're really proud of ourselves. We say anybody can come and learn Pure Stretch. You will thoroughly enjoy the class. You'll be touching your toes in no time with a really strong core. It's just fun with flexibility. It's great.
Nice. So it's an additional qualification. Somebody would come on and then they can teach in their studio.
Funny enough, it's not a qualification. It's an accreditation, if that makes sense. So you have your qualification. It's just another sort of thing in your backpack that you can introduce to your clients. And I'm delighted. SIMSA have given me 10 points 2 days ago. So I'm like, yay.
Great, appreciate it. So anybody watching or listening to this that wants to know more about Pure Stretch, more about how you've been able to stay in the fitness industry for so long and keep progressing with a big smile on your face like you've had now, where could they potentially reach out and have a chat with you?
Well, listen, email me by all means. So it's info@purestretch.co.uk. Also on Instagram, Pure Stretch, Facebook on Instagram. I literally have, like we all do, I have my phone next to me and I do reply almost instantly. So please do get in touch. It'd be great to hear from anybody.
I appreciate your time today. Thank you for coming on, and maybe we'll have you on further down the year to see how you've progressed and if you did open another studio again.
I loved it, David. Thank you so much for inviting me. It was a pleasure.
No problem.
Thank you.
I'll speak to you soon. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
Okay, so that was C giving us an insight in what it was like for her transitioning, what it was like during COVID, how everything has kind of changed, and the things that she thought are going to change or work within the industry moving forwards over the next couple of years. Like we said at the start, this week is all about transitioning within the fitness industry. So maybe you're doing something now, you love it in the fitness industry, but you just find this kind of place that you're in isn't for you and you want to change to something different, then definitely stay with us this week as we dive into all this type of stuff. I'm going to leave it there for today. I'll speak to you all tomorrow. Cheers.